A very hearty good evening to Chief Justice, retired Justice M.N. Rao sir, Registrar Ma'am Vidulata Reddy, Senior Resident Fellow Vidhi Center for Legal Policy Lalit Panda, professors, volunteers, and all the attendees. Before we begin with the inaugural ceremony, may I request the Registrar Ma'am to felicitate Chief Guest Sir and Mr. Lalit Panda with a bouquet. Thank you, ma'am. I extend my warm welcome to all of you to the 16th Justice Bodhraj Sahani Memorial Moot Court Competition. I am Neha Verma, hosting the inaugural ceremony on behalf of the organizing committee, along with my co-host Karshan Malik. Nalsar has previously organized premier moot court competitions and has witnessed the participation of brightest brains from the law schools across the country. In keeping with this tradition, the university is organizing the 16th edition of prestigious Nalsar Justice Bodhraj Sahani Memorial Moot Court Competition in collaboration with Justice B.R. Sahani Memorial Trust and in association with Vidhi Center for Legal Policy. The Bodhraj Sahani Memorial Trust was founded in 1999 by late Mr. Digambar Sen Sahani in memory of his father, Bodhraj Sahani, an eminent jurist. The trust aims to promote excellence in legal education, community health, conservation of the environment, and upliftment of women. The Bodhraj Sahani Memorial Trust is working with national law universities and law colleges all over India. The trust supports scholars for higher education in legal studies with scholarships. It has instituted a scholarship for Indian students for the BC course at the Exeter College at the Oxford University in the UK. We also thank and express our gratitude to Vidhi for their collaboration as associate sponsor. Vidhi is an independent think tank doing legal research to make better laws and improve governance for the public good. As we kickstart Nalsar's flagship and one of the leading constitutional law moots in the country, we're delighted to share with you all that continuing with the legacy, Nalsar University of Law was awarded an A++ grade with a score of 3.52 out of 4 by National Assessment and Accreditation Council NAC in 2023. I congratulate all the students, professors, registrar, and the Vice Chancellor, sir, who's not here with us today. Without further ado, I request Professor Saurabh Bharti, Faculty Coordinator of the MCC, to address the gathering. Professor Bharti specializes in intellectual property laws. He joined Nalsar for his teaching stint and is now an assistant professor at Nalsar. He is also the faculty coordinator for the Moot Court Committee and has been a constant guiding light for the Moot and other mooting events. Besides IPR, his other areas of interest include constitutional law, international law, jurisprudence. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Neha. Good evening, everyone. So in my capacity as the faculty supervisor for the Moot Court Committee, I take this opportunity to welcome all of you to Nalsar, and more particularly to our guests, our Chief Guest Justice M.N. Rao, former Chief Justice of the Himachal Pradesh High Court, and our co-sponsor, and therefore I would not address him as our guest. Okay, he's part of the team organizing this competition, Mr. Lalit Panda, who's representing Vidhi for us today. BR Sani competition is the oldest and the most prestigious competition we organize at Nalsar. In terms of the moot court competitions, we host three competitions in an year. We have a moot on competition law, we have a moot on public international law, and of course we have BR Sani moot court competition. All three are very important for us, and therefore I would surely hope that some of you would also choose to participate in the other two competitions we organize next semester. Next semester for us, but students from the other colleges, January onwards. But BR Sani is like the most important event for us. It is a jewel in the crown, if I can put it that way, for Nalsar. And therefore, it is very heartening for me to see that there was such a wide participation for this competition. This time we had almost 100 registrations, which is a quantum jump over the last time, which itself was a good number, which is 78. So from 78, we've jumped to 100. And out of those 100, out of the shortlisting based upon memorials, we have 22, 24 best teams in front of us. I thank all of you. While I'm welcoming all of you, I am also thanking all of you to decide to be part of this prestigious competition and give us an opportunity to host you, for the event. Now, through this competition, basically, Nalsar tries to engage with important areas of constitutional law. It is either our attempt to initiate a debate or be part of a debate on something which is very contemporary in its importance. So last time, for example, we had the competition problem framed around the question of electoral bonds, whereas this time we are engaging with a problem which is universal in its importance, and that is a problem which all of you know is based upon child rights and the question of legalization of prostitution. So it's a very important event for us because this gives us, as an institution, it gives us an opportunity to convey to the world that we are engaged with these issues in a significant manner, and also to give opportunity to young minds like you to be part of the whole process. Uh, and therefore, I would not miss this opportunity to thank the BR Sahani Trust for reposing in us their confidence that we can organize a competition event of such a scale and such importance year after year. I would also convey my appreciation to Vidhi because they have decided to join us in this endeavor to provide such a platform to young students to argue cases on issues of constitutional law importance. And finally, to the teams who are here, I always say this, that at the end of the competition, of course, there would be one team holding the winner's trophy. There would be some of you who would be appreciated for different roles. It could be best memorial, best speaker, etc. But I'm very sure that at the end of it, all of you would feel enriched, both academically and socially. Academically, in the sense that you would have had the opportunity of listening to the arguments which are developed, presented by other teams in the competition, and socially in the sense that you would have had the opportunity of making friends amongst the people who are otherwise your competitors in different rounds. So at the end of the day, I'm very sure that all of you would go back with a sense of enrichment and achievement while participating in this competition. The student volunteer team and the Moot Court committee has done their best to ensure that your stay in Nalsar and in the place where you are accommodated, is without any hassles. Uh, I'm sure they are going to put up their best effort for next 3 days to ensure that you don't have any problem while you are participating in the competition. In case you still feel that there is something to be suggested, some feedback is to be given, the team is here. I, as the faculty convener, am also available to you. Please don't mind reaching out to us, and we would do our best to ensure that your stay at Nalsar is a memorable stay. Thank you very much, and all the best to all of you.
Thank you so much, sir, for addressing the gathering and for constant support and guidance in organizing this event. Now, I request our Registrar Ma'am, Dr. Vidyulata Reddy, to address the gathering. Before joining Nalsa University of Law, Ma'am worked as an in-charge principal of Maner Law College, Khammam. She has nearly 3 decades of experience and is also actively involved in the administration of legal education institutions. In the past, Ma'am has also worked as the chairperson for the Postgraduate Legal Education Center, convener of the Moot Court Committee, and also of the University Examination Committee. She has been actively engaged in organizing various training programs. Over to you, ma'am.
So good evening, all of you. And first, I would like to extend my wholehearted thanks to Justice M.N. Rao Garu for accepting our invitation to be at the inaugural of this BR Sani Moot Court competition. Now, all of you know Justice M.N. Rao, sir, as former Chief Justice of uh, Himachal Pradesh High Court, and also the chairperson of the National Backward Classes Commission formerly. But what for us, M.N. Rao sir has a very, very different role for Nalsar. He was the visionary of Nalsar in a way. There were 5 judges who formed Nalsar Society to start a law school, and that culminated into university later. And amongst those 5 judges, one of them was Justice M.N. Rao. So for us, he is like, you know, so we very dearly, respect our respects to him, and our is like very wholeheartedly. I welcome you, sir, and I thank you for accepting our invitation to be here. And I also welcome Lalit Panda from Vidhi Center for Legal Policy, which is a co-sponsor along with BR Sani Trust. And as you all know, BR Sani Memorial Moot Court Competition has become the best constitutional law moot in the country. Definitely, I think this is the best competition. And I think all of you already reached quarterfinals. No, but out of 125 teams means what? Quarter. So that way, all of you are already in quarterfinals to my mind. So one level of achievement already is there. No matter one or two teams will win. Those of you who lose in preliminary rounds, enjoy our campus. Those who win, struggle it out. So it's whatever it is, have a pleasant stay, enjoy the competition. See, the learning part of the competition is what should be valued. You have come this far. Being in the top 24 or being selected memorial means your hard work is already appreciated. And you have already learned something. You are something in constitutional law. Keep that in mind. And now learn from others. Learn, peer learning is something which is very, very important. And learning through moots, I have seen the best of the students, however best constitutional law teacher is given to you, what you learn through moots is something it will be there till your last stage of your life, right? Because that level of preparation I haven't seen for any end sem or for any mid sem by every law student. I don't know, moods give them a very different kind of energy. Till 2 p.m. they will study, they will argue with registrar, keep the library open throughout the night or give us more access, more books. Never I see a student coming and asking for books for NSEM. But for moods, they will ask, please buy these books, please give us time, give us AC, that, this. So moot is something that goes with the blood of the law schools. And I think this is, and BR Sani, as you know, is the best competition that you can think of. And I wish you all the best, nothing more. So we are at the inaugural only. All of you are tense faced. Maybe day after tomorrow, all of you will be celebrating. But winning or losing doesn't matter. Out of 24, only one or two will go happily. Rest all learn to enjoy from now. So you have come here, learn from the others, learn from yourself, take the good things out of this place, right? Wish you all the best. Thank you all for being here and taking out your at least out of 100 teams means I am just imagining 400-500 students have put this effort to make this something thing. And let us see what knowledge contribution will come through this. All the best.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your words of encouragement with us. Now we have with us retired Honorable Justice M.N. Rao, sir, who is the former Chief Justice of Himachal Pradesh High Court and the former Chairman of the National Commission on Backward Classes. Sir practiced before the Andhra Pradesh High Court for more than 12 years. Later, he was appointed as the legal secretary of the government of Andhra Pradesh before he became the chairman of the Sales Tax Appellate Tribunal. He later moved on to become the Chief Justice of the Himachal Pradesh High Court. I request Sir to share a few words with us on the art of lawyering. Thank you so much.
What is it you wanted me to share with you all?
You have a lot of experience.
Experience as a judge, as
I,
an advocate.
yes, both, sir.
Your good name?
Karshan,
Pardon?
Karshan,
Ashyam.
Karshan, Karshin.
KRSH?
I-N.
Ashyam.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have been asked to share my experiences with you. What experiences I do not know. But before I start, I must express my thanks to the organizers, your registrar cum principal, the other two gentlemen on the dais, for inviting me to speak on this occasion. I was told this is the inaugural session for the Moot Court, and students in the law colleges are trained to acclimatize themselves with the argumentative skills. It is presumed that every one of you will become advocates, argue cases, succeed. That is, success is the hope. You keep on hoping, and some of you may not become lawyers, you may become law teachers, or you may become administrators. But legal education has many advantages. Apart from the fact it is a professional course, it is also, in a manner of speaking, a kind of widening of your general knowledge. Knowledge of law helps you in every field. If you become an administrator, if you know a little law, you will become a better administrator. Otherwise, you will end up in some difficulty or other. The topic, am I supposed to speak about the topic, Mr.? So it is only an inaugural session, and we are not supposed to discuss the merits and demerits, but I wanted to share a few of my experiences. Perhaps most of you have been already accustomed to listening to the heavy academic theses and interpretations coming from scholars of this place, but the experience of a person who has almost reached the end of his career. I have been here for more than 66 years in this line. I am now in my 88th year, nearing 90. Still, I am able to stand before you, and I can stand for a couple of hours and then share my views. What is it you wanted me to share first? Why this profession?
By this profession and how were your years as an advocate and then as a judge?
What?
How were your as an advocate and then as a judge? Or you could also speak about the topic on child rights.
Why child rights?
Sorry.
The You want me to speak about the subject, or
Yes, sir.
inaugural section you don't speak about the subject, isn't it?
So general principle, feel free to discuss this.
The, instead of concentrating on the subject, I would like to say a few words as to why you should take to law. I think most of you are expecting to become lawyers, isn't it? Most of you. And practice of law is so uncertain, and the waiting period is too long. Those who succeed tremendously. Those who fail, they fail miserably. That's why when we were youngsters, when I was of your age, long back, more than 6 decades ago, we were told by our seniors that you wait for 10 years. That's the maximum period given to us. And if you don't click, then get out of the legal profession and think of something else. But these days, there are so many avenues for youngsters, especially judicial service. In our state, almost this is state, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, 1/3 of the posts are reserved for ladies, judicial service. It is a good service because you don't come under pressures unlike other executive officers. When once you join the service, after you see immediately after your exam, you can appear for the competitive examination. So if you click at the age of 21 or 22, you are bound to become High Court judges. You will have 40 years of service. You are bound to become, and you will not miss. So I would suggest that all of you, at least those who want to have a peaceful, orderly, disciplined, regulated life, unlike lawyers who one day get a lakh of rupees, next day they may not get anything. If you want to give up the life of lawyering, the best thing is to join service. And judicial service gives you a kind of satisfaction which no other service will give you, not even administrative service. Because when once you become a judicial officer, you are free from pressures. Nobody will come and ask you, you give judgment like this, you write judgment like that. So that is one of the biggest advantages in choosing judicial service as an option. The other thing is the as a lawyer, especially for girls, taking to law as a profession has a few more difficulties than what their counterparts boys face. Because you can't, these days, youngsters are so active, so enterprising, they chase clients, they capture clients, whereas you can't do it, girls. So an youngster can go to a company executive and tell him, you entrust your brief to me. Whereas a girl, she can't go and ask a person, you give me, of course, no doubt, as per the strict code of law, the Bar Council, you are prohibited from seeking cases or engagements. But in fact, that is not in practice, that is not what is happening. So therefore, for girls, it takes longer time. If you, of course, no doubt, the proportion of boys and girls in the legal profession is about 60 to 40, or maybe it is 50-50. But how many of them, the best course, my suggestion is you join judicial service. Or if you practice at the High Court, wait for some time for your turn, then you become a High Court judge. These are all good options, unlike waiting for a longer period, hoping to earn more and more money. Because there is greater satisfaction in being a judicial officer than in making more money and leading a very uncertain, unsteady life as a lawyer. And for today's topic, is it today's topic you said, ma'am?
Yes.
The scope of Article 21, right to, what is Article 21, madam? Right to life, is it?
But our proposition is on specifically child rights.
Children. The the child rights are to be protected because the society is interested in the welfare of children. Today's children are tomorrow's citizens. So the interest of the child is uppermost. It's a duty of the society, it is a duty of the state. In order to protect the children, the state has made several acts. Some of the acts which I have noted down are Children Pledging of Labor Act, which prohibits the pledging of labor of children, Immoral Traffic Act, and then Prohibition of Child Marriage Act, Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act, Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act, the Protection of Children, the status of child protection in India, what is needed to promote child protection. See, unless the children are protected, the future citizens will not be of any use to the state. So that is why it is primary responsibility of the state to see that laws are enacted for protecting the children. That is for the future of the society, for the future of the state. In this respect, in our country, especially in our society, what are the avenues open for the children? For free and compulsory education is one of the directives in the Constitution, directive principles of state policy. But thereafter, what happens? The state cannot give funds for the education of the children right up to graduation level or post-graduation. So after the minimum education is received by children, most of them, they end up either as laborers or workers, because those who cannot afford to go in for higher education. So therefore, the responsibility of the state is greater to see that there are more avenues providing for employment for children who could not reach higher levels. But it is a very impossible task for the reason those who go to universities, obtain degrees, 1 degree, postgraduate degree, PhD, they are not getting jobs. How can these people get? So therefore, job-oriented education should be there. One of the views suggested was that there should be a survey in different places in the state where there are possibilities for employment. What type of industry should be there to provide employment? So depending upon the places chosen by the state, education institutions should be started. So if such a thing is done, there will not be any disappointment, especially the unemployed educated people. They are really a kind of time bomb for the society. See, many of the youngsters unable to get employment, they are attracted towards the what we call radical views, radical political parties. See, some of these political parties which have been banned by the state, they had brilliant students. In fact, I had seen a few of them. They are very brilliant students. And when I asked them why did they join this movement, they said, sir, in spite of our best education, we could not get any employment. So we thought the only way is to change the society. How do you change it? By joining a group which was prohibited by the state, which aims at overthrowing the government by unlawful means. So in order to prevent the youth from taking to this type of life, it is the responsibility of the state to see that education which provides employment to the youth should be thought of. In that direction, the state must work out its plans. What is the other topic, ma'am? You are my teacher guide. Huh?
Legalization of prostitution.
The other topic is legalization of prostitution. It's a bit touchy subject. See, prostitution is of two types. Out of sheer poverty, for survival, some resort to this. Some, in order to make money to become rich, they resort to this. But prostitution is a social problem which requires enormous efforts by the state to curb it. But there are legislations, and this legislation is not able to give the anticipated results, desired results, because by legislation you can stop to some extent, you can regulate, but prostitution for the sake of money, why are they doing it? Mostly it is poverty. Because of poverty, lack of employment, lack of avenues, difficult to survive. So women take to prostitution. And people, especially rich people who support this type of thing, by organizing these houses of ill fame, they make money. And they are let off, and then poor women, they are brought to the court. See, the problem is, whenever police raid these houses, they catch hold of women. In fact, in my younger days, early days of entering service, way back 1973, a batch of women were produced before me. I was the revisional authority. When I looked at them, they are some middle class women. Obviously, due to economic reasons, they strayed. And then when once police people start chalaning, then it becomes a repetition for them. So whether the woman has done it or not, next time they bring her, second time they bring her. So that is how they are known as the permanent on the list. So when I asked them, they said some of them they came away from their houses because of domestic violence. Some of them husbands has neglected. Some of them, in order to survive, they have resorted to this. Instead of addressing these things, straight away bringing them to the court and subjecting them to punishment, is highly unethical, and that is not a wise policy of the state. But somebody should work on this in this direction and see that the a plan, a scheme should be evolved in order to see that women in distress are not straying into this field. So for that, it is an economic problem mostly. And of course, some people, in order to earn more money, they take to this type of life. They come under a different category. But ordinarily, whenever the prostitution question comes up, It is a woman who are in need of survival. It is an economic question, and mostly innocent women are being brought because it is not their intention to become very rich. It is only for survival they do it, but this question is not being addressed. The What, madam? What are the other things you want? She is guiding me what type of topics I should take up.
So the challenges you
Hmm?
face, as an advocate, and then
Yeah. So your organizers are asking me
it's a great experience.
to narrate my story from the beginning till the present moment. When I started as a briefless lawyer, she wants that I should share my experience with you. When you join law college, you are full of hopes. You dream, you are a dreamer. You think of Tej Bahadur Sapru of the olden days, Settleward, Daftare, and youngsters. You dream of Salve, and who else are there? Top lawyers in Supreme Court. In our days, Parasharan. But when once you come out of the law college, the problem is who is the senior you should choose. There are always at the bar top people making lot of money. If you want to go to them, they will not allow you because each office is full of 10, 15, 20 juniors. So in my day, after my graduation in law, I did my post-graduation. That my professor was a very eminent man, internationally renowned Professor Alexandrovich, an Englishman, Madras University. And after that, two avenues were open to me, either to become a lawyer or to become a law teacher. I tried as a law teacher for some time in the university, and thereafter my senior told me that can't you make 200 rupees or 250 rupees a month in the profession? Why do you want to become a teacher? So law is a challenging profession. You become a law an advocate and then try your luck. And then I joined the profession. And the first 3 years, my income was practically zero. That is the stage when many people struggle to be or not to be, to continue or to discontinue. Unless you have got some rich parents to support you, otherwise it is very difficult. There are people who work in private offices, earn money and continue in the profession, but they come under a different category. But ordinary middle class people, they can't do it. So the biggest hurdle is how to support yourself in the initial days. First 4 or at least 3 to 4 years, a tough period. So if you can get over that, and if you are hard working, if you attend your senior's office both morning and evening, evening you must go to senior's office at 7 o'clock, sit there till 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, prepare the briefs for the next day's hearing. And that is how you get into the, the feel of the law. And your clients who see the senior depending upon you for many things. When one senior is not there, automatically they prefer to have you as their law. So that is how some of the youngsters, they made mark at an early stage and then they became good lawyers. But first thing you should develop is you must improve your vocabulary. How to articulate your thoughts, how to put them in legal language. If you are not in a position to do it, you will not be in a position to impress the court. So that is one of the first things. And then for that, to improve your knowledge of law, you should read not only books of law, but also general books, especially political science, history, and comparative constitution. You can't say, if suppose somebody asks you, who is the head of the British system, you can't say there is a president of the United Kingdom, because it requires a little knowledge of comparative law also. who is the, what type of system the America has, United States, what type of system Britain has. So these are all elementary things at the beginning stages. But when once you get into the actual legal profession as it is, so these things they fade into insignificance. But the only thing is that you should read your briefs. If your senior studied a brief, you also must study along with him. Please sit with him when he argues the case, assist him, and then create an impression that you are capable of assisting the senior. And one day when the senior is not there, you are capable of taking on the case yourself, argue it, and get the result. So if this is the impression you can create, then practically you have settled down in the profession. But if you feel that I must get money immediately, without money, there is no charm in the profession, and some of you will be in for great disappointment because money doesn't come that easily in the profession. There are many seniors who do not pay anything. But there are few seniors who are very generous, but others do not pay. And for them, for those youngsters, some kind of encouragement is necessary, and it all depends upon their individual initiative, how they conduct themselves. That is one thing. What else, madam? You have been guiding me. What other things you want me to say?
From my side, this was,
Hmm?
from my side, this was it.
So I am happy to be here because 65 years ago I told you I taught law students. Now I am nearing 90. So most of it I have forgotten, and it is difficult to stand before youngsters like you with all brimming with original ideas, scholarly faces, and then with all bright futuristic outlook. What is the impression I can create? Not an old man who failed in life, but a man who struggled and still is able to survive. And that is you should not get disappointment. If you have no brief for 1 year, that doesn't mean you will have no brief in the second year. Till yesterday you did not get to see the face of a client. That doesn't mean tomorrow you will not be seeing. So when you are thinking of winding up your practice, suddenly a client may come and give you a brief. And some of the brilliant lawyers, youngsters, they had given up practice because of this disappointment. So don't fall into the trap of being disappointed and then giving up the profession. So profession is there for those who work hard, who study hard, who help their seniors, and then continuously practice steadfast so that success will not, what should I say, slip them. They are bound to become successful, and especially a college like this, an institute, you are very fortunate. This is one of the best institutes. Nalsar, National Academy of Legal Studies and Research. We studied long back. Plato's Academy, they used to discuss. This is supposed to be a place where students are expected to discuss matters, to debate issues, and then suggest solutions. So in fact, I must tell you, the name Nalsar was coined by me. This was started by the High Court. I was a member of the committee. What is the name to be given? My Chief Justice said, brother, we'll make it Indira Gandhi Law University. Somebody said Mahatma Gandhi. Somebody said Gopal Krishna Gokhale. We are 5. And people are Mahatma Gandhi, Gopal Krishna Gokhale. You may not like to be known as students of Gopal Krishna Gokhale Institute. So then suddenly it struck me, in England, the London School of Medicine is there, where people get their FRCS, MRCOG. Then I thought, why not it be? And then there is Indian School of International Studies in Delhi. Then I thought, why not it? And then the idea of a place where people assemble, discuss, debate issues, and suggest solutions. Then I remembered about Plato's Academy. The place where Plato used to meet students and discuss, it was called Academy. So I thought, why not there be an academy in Hyderabad? Then suddenly it struck me. I said, Chief, we will make it National Academy of Legal Studies and Research, because it should not stop with studies only. There should be research also. So that is how the Nalsar was born, and now it has become one of the foremost institutions in the country. And then you are happy. I am happy that many brilliant students have passed out of the portals of this institute, and almost all of you are so brilliant. You cannot escape success in life. All of you will reach great heights. God bless you.
Thank you so much, sir. Your words were truly inspiring. We hope to host you again sometime in the near future and have an opportunity to learn more from you. Today, we also have with us Lalit Panda, a senior resident fellow at Vidhi Center for Legal Policy. Lalit sir graduated from Gujarat National Law University and has been working at the Vidhi Center for Legal Policy since 2017. Now I have a few more words introducing him, but I see him waiting. Okay. Prior to joining Vidhi, he worked briefly as a consultant with the 21st Law Commission of India. At Vidhi, he has worked in the broad areas of law and technology, regulation and constitutional law, covering subjects such as data protection, higher education, election law, fiscal federalism, and state governors. As a 2020 Samvidhan Fellow, he conducted interdisciplinary research into the right to equality, including from this perspective from law and economics. Currently, he works in Vidhi's constitutional law team Charkha, engaging with contemporary issues such as the right against discrimination and secularism. I request him to address our gathering.
So much. Hello. So just to start off with, good evening to Saurabh sir, Reddy ma'am, to Justice Rao, to all the organizers here and to the participants, a warm, warm greeting. I thank you so much to the organizing committee for inviting me. But I have something to confess. I have a terrible secret that I must disclose to the organizing committee that I really feel I should have mentioned much earlier to all of you. The truth of the matter is that almost 12 years ago, um, when I was a first year student, I was a participant in the BRS Moot at that time. And I was very unceremoniously and humiliatingly knocked out in the prelim stage itself. And I waited my turn. I waited more than a decade, but I have returned now to exact my revenge. I mean, really, thank you so much for inviting me to be able to gloat about it now. Thank you actually for inviting all of us here from Vidhi. Myself, my teammate Mayuri, who's here, my senior Ritvika, who will be joining us tomorrow, and I think also my senior Alok, who will be here. It's a real pleasure to be here and to also be an associate sponsor. The name BR Soni has always been associated for me as the BR Soni Moot as the premier constitutional law moot in India. And working in the constitutional law team at Vidhi, I feel that it's an honor to be associated at all with this with the competition that you're all part of. Also to the organizers, thank you so much for organizing the moot. I know that very often this can seem like a thankless job, not being up there arguing, taking the accolades. All of this can mean that it seems like you're not participating in a way. But believe me, nobody would be here today. None of us would be here if you hadn't done what you did. This is your doing. So, a round of applause for all of you for getting this to this point. For my second bit, I thought I could speak a little bit to the participants here, the oral participants and the researchers who've joined here. I mentioned what I did about my participation almost 12 years ago because, not because I wanted to show you that, this is who you can be if you work hard. Really, you can aspire to much more than this. But I just wanted to point out that I know a little bit, I understand a little bit about what it feels like to be where you are right now. I was in my first year, participated in the intra competitions inside JNLU, made it to BR Sony, which was a surprise for me because I did surprisingly well for somebody who just figured out what international law was about in the intra-moots. And then by some luck got in through this, had very haphazard preparations, did all the research, last minute moot memorial preparation, all the rehearsals with the oral arguments, did all of that. And then the time came to go ahead to the moot, to head to Hyderabad from Gandhinagar. And of course, one of my teammates decided to go by flight, and me and the researcher had to head over by train. The researcher was at that point the person who booked the ticket for us to go by train. And she assured us that, she assured me that though it was not confirmed, we would definitely find ourselves in the final list of the, travelers when we reach the train station, but it was not to be. We were not on that list. And we realized that we would, if we missed the train, we would miss the moot. And we knew we had to make it. So we saw a TC on the platform. He said that if you buy a local ticket, which was possible to get onto that train, you can get onto the train and then a TC will come along and get you somewhere to sit. So I ran all the way from the platform with 5 minutes left for the train to move off, ran to the counter, broke the line, of course, went right to the front apologizing, got the local ticket, came back running to the platform, made it onto the train just on time. And then there was, of course, no seat for us. So a family accommodated us in the sleeper class. We were accommodated in one particular berth. We sat with them for a while. One TC came along and he said that, okay, this seems fine. I will change here. Give me your money. I will change your ticket into a permanent ticket. I will come back and give you a seat. He never came back. And so I was sitting there, we were sitting there, me and the researcher, we were sitting there. And of course, I had at that point realized that, I hadn't finished the compendium. There were some things, A1 research that had already happened, and we needed to, transfer some passages from the judgment onto the compendium because you can't show them the whole judgment, paragraphs have to be put down. So I had to copy paste this. But my laptop, and yes, we did have laptops back in 2012. They were bulkier and slower, but word processing and all was possible. My laptop was running out of charge. So what do? Sleeper class didn't have a charging point. I went to third AC. So I went into third AC where I had no right to be, and I plugged in my laptop into the charging point there available, and I started transferring paragraphs into the compendium. And who should come along but another ticket collector, ticket checker. And he said that, oh, what are you doing here? You can't be here. I was like, charger, I need to charge my laptop. He said, no, back into the sleeper class. I went back, obligingly. But the research was so important. I came back into third AC. I came back, sat in the same berth, put my charger again, was there for maybe half an hour, and the same ticket conductor came back again, and he found me. And what would he do this time? He said, nothing doing. You have to pay your fine now. I said, what can I do? I said, sir, poor student, sir, I can't pay fine. Then he asked, oh. And then he asked, what student are you? I was frankly a little bit scared of this question. I knew it might be coming. I said, law student. And of course, his response was, you're a law student and you don't know that you can't be violating rules like this. What could I say to that? Sir, first year law student, sir. I don't know enough law. So in the end, the researcher who had not gotten the ticket confirmed, she came along, and she, while I was trembling on the side, she told the ticket conductor that, this is my little brother, please, sir, spare him. And we got away with it. And I stood in the area between the two compartments where there is the toilet and the door, and I cried there for a little bit. And then I came back, and then we came here. We got our compendium finally printed at Nalsar. Finally made it to the arguments, where I made some inane argument. I don't remember the problem, but I remember I made some inane argument about how if the law is different in different states for a very substantial question, it can actually be a violation of the right to equality. Federalism be damned. Matlab, right to equality is what matters here. States can't have different laws. It's a very important question. You can't have these differences. I made that argument. Then I also had this killer joke that I had to give, because I had copied out some points from a Google book so that was available, some page that was available online. I typed it out onto the page, but it was not justified. So it was clearly typed out with maybe some typo as well. And the judges were like, how do we know that this is from the book and you didn't just make it up? And my response to this was, sir, as the Advocate General, The government has not been paying me enough to buy the books. And believe me, I remember the faces of those judges. They did not crack a smile. So that fell flat. And of course, I was knocked out, and I would not change a thing because that's as it should be. But what I want to tell you is that, and to explain this, what I want to tell you is that, see, in this competition, what is going to happen is that the way things are going to be, for some of you, it's going to be quite unfair. And even if it's not unfair, it's going to seem unfair. And to explain that, that cliche about what Reddy ma'am mentioned, that winning isn't everything, what else is it that you can take away from this moot, even if you don't win? I just want to mention a little bit, because this is product plug about my team, the team I work in. Vidhi Center for Legal Policy's constitutional law team is called Charkha. We work on constitutional law in India today, and it is a difficult time to be working on constitutional law. If you aren't aware, we are in a state of considerable political flux, which means the things that were considered settled, that were considered rules of the game, are increasingly being unsettled and questioned. And this means that the way in which to engage with these questions is also changing. It isn't as if you can do this kind of work in the same way that you could in the past. Think of any game. If you're playing chess, you can't start moving your castle diagonally. If you're engaging in a boxing match, you can't start kicking somebody in ordinary boxing. If you're playing cricket, you can't suddenly change where the boundary is. And it's the rules of these games that actually make the game possible. Similarly, it is the constitution that makes democratic politics possible. And if you change those rules, the game itself can change completely. This is a very important way in which you have to think about constitutional law today, because it increasingly means you have to answer not just the what question, which is what is the law, but also the why question. Why is it the way it is right now? Why shouldn't it be different? Only the ability to answer those why questions will provide a satisfactory answer to where things will head. So please be aware of how these things are changing. The second thing that I wanted to point out is that the work that we do at Charkha increasingly means and involves having to explain this body of law, which sometimes is extremely arcane and opaque and difficult to understand because it is often incoherent, inconsistent, and underdeveloped, to lay people. It really, really matters to be able to put it as simply as possible. I want to jump off of this to just explain a little bit about what you can take away from this moot, even if you don't win, because it's extremely important that you keep those expectations in mind. Number one is about your working in a team. Look at the people who are working beside you right now. There's the real prize. There's the real trophy. You got to be taking care of them. You got to be caring about them. Do not forget the people that you're working with right now, because regardless of where you end up, you will be working with people once again, and hopefully you can be friends with them. Often not the case, but often the case. Hi, Mayuri. Friends. Anyway, so that's one thing, working in a team. That's really important. Number two, about argumentation. Remember, if you can, even if it's unfair, there is a ways in which to try to make the competition more fair for yourself. Speak with authority. Speak with the authority of the research that you have done. You have done some research. Let that research come out in what you're saying. Speak with clarity. Because remember, the people who understand a problem the best are the ones who are able to express it the simplest. And that shows to any judge. And finally, brevity. Not just because that's structurally the kind of problem we face when we are arguing in a moot court competition. This is especially for the oral participants, but also it's an increasingly important skill in a world which is kind of, attention starved. You need to be able to say things in brief. It matters. This is something you can learn from what you're doing here. The other bit is that what you can learn here is a simulation of having concern for the subject matter. This is again about what I meant with the why questions. What are you doing here on these particular subjects? As Saurabh sir mentioned, and as even Justice Rao mentioned, these are real problems. The question of children who are undergoing trafficking, the question of beggary, the question of poverty, the question of the conditions of the lives of sex workers, these are real problems. And believe me, whether personally or professionally, you will see these issues in front of you in your life in the future, even if it's not these exact same issues, issues that are very similar. And what do I mean by this kind of similarity? It's something that's, again, something that might be helpful for you in argumentation. One of the things that really struck me when I was a law student was reading about the Keshavananda Bharati case and reading about the way in which Mr. Palkhiwala, Mr. Nani Palkhiwala, argued in front of the judges in that case. One of his critical tools in making that argument was to try and make the judges visualize the world that would come into being if they passed a judgment in the way that the state was asking for. What is the kind of world, what is the kind of situation that India will find itself in if legislatures are permitted to amend the constitution entirely? Amend it entirely, including, for example, a very direct consequence, amend away democracy itself. Should that be permitted? The legitimacy of democracy depends on the continuation of democracy. And if democracy allows amendment of itself, can that make sense? This is very similar to the kinds of arguments that are often effective when you are talking with very little time at hand. You can put forward a lot of arguments, you can put forward a lot of precedents and authorities, but people want to hear about what it means, why they should rule in one particular way. You rule one particular way about sex discrimination, and you might have to rule about the same way, rule about a different matter in religious discrimination in the same way, because you're applying the same right, Article 15. You might give bail to somebody at one particular point, but then somebody will ask you, why shouldn't I also apply the same principle to the next bail matter that comes up? You might say that the center, the union, should have power over a certain matter as per the federal scheme of the constitution. But that might mean that it whittles away the state's power on a variety of other questions if you read federalism in that way. So these social consequences don't just matter in the immediate sense of the case, but in a principled sense about all the other circumstances that that principle can apply to. And going back and forth between the immediate consequences and the consequences of ruling in favor of a particular principle is somewhat the way in which most arguments and the play in the joint that most moot court problems deal with. Should we stick to the rule or should we make an exception? One of the sides will be arguing for one of these things, and that's as it should be. So last but not the least, there will be 1,000 voices over the course of your lives, in your professional lives, in your personal lives, who will tell you, don't take this, your work or something you're doing for studies, don't take this too seriously, don't take it too personally. You're just doing this for work. This is something you have to do as a professional. You will hear 1,000 voices saying this. But work and life are not demarcated in this way. And you will be called upon in your careers to make questions where you feel things. And if in this moot court competition, even when making dispassionate arguments, calm arguments, you are able to feel something about what you're arguing about, believe me that a judge will also feel it too. With that, all the best to all of you.
Thank you, sir. With this, the inauguration ceremony comes to an end. I would like to extend my gratitude and thank Honorable Justice M.N. Rao, sir, for taking out his precious time and gracing this ceremony with his presence. We do note your years of experience, sir. I would like to extend my gratitude and thank Registrar Ma'am for her constant support, without which this event would not have been possible. I would like to extend my gratitude and thank Lalit, sir. That was quite a journey from a participant to a judge, and I hope the participants will see a judge in action tomorrow. Thank you, Mayuru ma'am. Thank you to our faculty coordinator of the Moot Court Committee, Saurabh Bharti sir. As someone who has had a chance to sit in Professor Bharti's class, I would like to share with you all that it was a great learning experience with such an excellent professor who has been a guiding light for all of his students, colleagues, and all of us here at Nalsar. I would also like to extend gratitude and thank Mr. Rishabh Chancheti, our moot problem drafter. Mr. Rishabh is not here as he's traveling, but I would like to share with you all that you will be meeting him during the finals. Last but not the least, I thank my organizing committee for all their hard work and constant support so far. BRS Moot has been a legacy and we wish to carry it forward with a successful 16th edition. Before we close this ceremony, I have a few words for the participants. The organizing committee for next 2-3 days would be around for your help and to ensure that the best is provided to you all. The Moot is not just an event to win, but also an opportunity to learn. Hope you all live with happy memories and a lot of learning. Happy mooting. I request all the teams to remain seated after the ceremony as we have Yash Agarwal from the Committee Against Sexual Harassment for an orientation of the cash mandate. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, ma'am. And thank you to all the participants and attendees.